Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ha! Oh. He lives below the floor in his mama's basement den. Paper plates, cold pizza, and a game console again. Dad tried to help him once with a little job to learn, but now that's off the table and the wiring would burn. He's got that tiny glare like a bad idea in shoes. Every time a woman shines, he picks a fight to lose. He talks real big, but the cracks show through, so he points at you, 'cause he can't face his own view. Tiny brain, tiny pride, big bad mouth, small inside. Tiny brain, tiny pride, you can't hide what's wrecked inside. You can't hide. He throws his shade, then slips on his own lie. Tiny brain, tiny pride, and everybody sees why. If she's sharp, he gets loud. If she's strong, he gets mean. If she's got a little charm, he calls it acting mean. He needs a crowd to clap for the joke he never lands, but every shove he gives just shows how little he stands. He's the biggest bully here in a room that's all too small, but the mirror by the stairs says, buddy, you ain't tall. He wants the throne made of borrowed noise, but he's just a kid with a pile of broken toys. Tiny brain, tiny pride, big bad mouth, small inside. Tiny brain, tiny pride, you can't hide what's wrecked inside. You can't hide. He throws his shade, then slips on his own lie. Tiny brain, tiny pride, and everybody sees why. Woo! No new daddy's fix, no basement crown, just empty brag and a constant frown. He swings at her, she stands her ground, and every time he screams, he gets smaller now. Tiny brain, tiny pride, big bad mouth, small inside. Tiny brain, tiny pride, you can't hide what's wrecked inside. Tiny brain, tiny pride, big bad mouth, small inside. Tiny brain, tiny pride, and everybody sees why. Basement king with the paper thin grin. Basement king, you were losing from within. Tiny brain, tiny brain, tiny brain, tiny brain, tiny pride.
Well, I met Professor Dan down at the county store. He said, I've got a brain map and a whole lot more. He had a 5-eye word and a shining new grin. Straight from the online thesaurus, he was cashing them in. He said, vivid means cheap and opaque means clear. I said, Dan, that ain't right. He said, I learned it this year. He talked so slick, you'd swear he knew the town, till you listen real close and the meaning fell down. He could tell you all about a polygraph test, every wire, every needle, every puff in the chest, what the sweat on your palm means, what the blink of your eye, how the little machine knows if you're telling a lie. He described it in detail, every minuscule part, but the facts went missing like a hole in his heart. He was accurate sounding, but that's where it ends. A mile of good spelling in a yard of no sense. And he leaned right in like he had the cure for every old problem a person endures. Psychobabble, he'd murmur, I know how it goes. Then he'd trip on the jargon from his head to his toes. Professor Dan, oh Professor Dan, he reads one page and he thinks he can. Professor Dan, oh Professor Dan, all that noise no understand. Oh, Professor Dan, Professor Dan. He's an expert on hounds and the scent in the air, on police line chalk and a flashlight glare, on search and rescue where the mud runs deep, on the way a lost soul breaks and the secret won't keep. He'll talk addiction, trauma, ADHD, like every psychiatrist calls him up for free. Doc, what's your advice? To say with a grin, then he'll answer himself before the truth gets in. Professor Dan, oh Professor Dan, he reads one page and he thinks he can. Professor Dan, oh Professor Dan, all that noise no understand. Oh, Professor Dan, oh, Professor Dan. Well, he's got it every answer in a digital pile. But the more he explains it, the less it feels like he's got confidence, sure, and a dazzling pose. But he's mixing up wisdom with the words he chose. Now he's 10 feet taller in the key of G, still wrong as a fence post, plain as can be. He's a master of nothing, but he sure loves the sound of his own big opinions circling around. So if you need a lesson in what not to do, call Professor Dan and he'll prove it to you. He's full of big talk and a borrowed brain. Every word sounds smart, but it lands in the drain.
Of wine and poured another. Told the bad boy come right over. Left both doors open wide. He said you best be armed, I'm coming inside. I grabbed my QQ and some Merlot. Called my husband, said here we go. Message detectives on my phone. The bad guys coming, I'm not alone. They're chasing me down the road, doing 140 in my Mercedes load. Call 911, but they're too slow. Gotta reach the cops before they know. 6 police cars on my face. Ski mask dude in a Honda Chase. I'll race them all with my V8 while calling Ralph, don't make me wait. He said slow down, I said no way. These hillbillies want me today. Pulled up to the station gate. The cops just stared and made me wait. They're chasing me down the road, doing 140 in my Mercedes load. Called 911, but they're so slow. Gotta reach the cops before they know. Met detectives at Tim Hortons, played the tape of all his warnings. Mad Dog said you did just right, while 9 more crates come out at night. Husband told him I'm not crazy, sent the cops home being lazy. Tomorrow getting faster wheels for when more villains chase my steel. They're chasing me down the road, doing 140 Mercedes load. Called 911, but they're too slow. Gotta reach the cops before they know.
Welcome in, everyone. Sorry for the late start. A bit of a sleep in this morning. I hadn't intended to do that. It was another one of those situations where I woke up early enough and Mouse decided to have a snuggle and I fell asleep, and then I woke up and it was like 5 minutes to 10. So I kind of, ended up a little bit late. But anyway, so just thought I'd start with this. Just a quick reminder that tomorrow is Maddie Monday. High tea was fantastic. Thank you, Teresa. Malden is the cutest little town on the planet. It's very historic. Apparently it's, now this is a weird title to have, but apparently it's the most original town in Victoria. Which basically means that there's no, you go down the high street, which is like a block, and there's no new buildings. It's just all, I've got a few photos up here for people. Thing I loved most was the storefront with the old Bushels sign painted on it. But it's just very, very typical country Victoria. Gorgeous old buildings, old sign in the middle of the road. and there was like a Christmas shop and there was a lolly shop, and I had to buy myself a sherbet fountain because I haven't had one of them in years. And then high tea was, the Christmas shop has got a letterbox out the front for letters to Santa, which I thought was too cute. And then high tea, but this was after they brought out scones that were, I would say, as big as my fist, but they were bigger than my fist. So this was high tea. I ended up having one of those little chocolate mug cake things for breakfast this morning. And then they brought me out a cupcake at the end with a candle on it. The sherbet fountains, I think they were about $3 or something. I was disappointed that they're not still in the cardboard bit. They're in plastic now. But, you know, maybe I can just sit one up on the desk once I finish it. It was a family tradition for us. We used to, there was an old town where, well, not where we used to live. It was about a half-hour drive from where we used to live growing up. And we used to go there once or twice a year in school holidays, and we were allowed to get any lollies we wanted. And my sister and I always got the sherbet fountains. So I thought it was quite fitting to buy myself and my sister a sherbet fountain each. So, yeah, no, that was pretty awesome. Absolute lovely time. I'd do it again. I don't know, you know, the cost of high teas, whether that's justifiable, but it was great. So, yeah, just a reminder that tomorrow is Maddie Monday, or if you're in Australia, it's Tuesday, but I like to call it Maddie Mondays. So hopefully people will join me for that. Oh, it was also very, very yummy. More than we could possibly eat. I mean, the scones alone would have been enough for me. They were so fluffy, like I ended up having to go and wash my hands before I could have anything else because my hands were so sticky because I couldn't hold the scones. So I should probably say hello to everyone. So hi, Bonza, Ariel, Camilla, I know you're in here somewhere. Charlotte, Teresa, who have I missed? Deborah. Other people have probably given up in disgust and gone, yeah, we're not waiting around. Danielle, welcome in. Rita, Brookie, Hugging Demons, Ernestine, Fred, Maggie May. I'm not sure if I've missed anyone here. Oh, Teresa, of course. I probably already said hi to you. So much in the chat already. Welcome in, just a clapping seal. Welcome in, BTTV. And I need to put comments on stage. Okay, get that out of the way. So, Deborah, your birthday's on the 28th. Yeah, see, I'll be 21 tomorrow too. I'll just stick with 21. That works for me. Now, I've got a string of clips from, you've never heard of a sherbet fountain? They used to be in a tube of cardboard, but now they're in a tube of plastic, which I think is just sacrilege for anyone who used to have them as a child. It is a tube of, well, a plastic tube now, but I'll just go with the tube of cardboard. It's a tube that's full of sherbet, like chockers with sherbet, and then it's got a stick of licorice that's kind of sealed in the top of it, and you open it up and you use the licorice to eat the sherbet and then you eat the licorice afterwards. So it is like, yeah, super yum. Oh, yeah. That's a bummer. Yeah, we grew up on one of my favourite things as a kid. So I'd be devastated if I couldn't have them. But yeah. Oh yeah, and that's the thing. It was the best sherbet. It's nothing else compares with the sherbet fountain kind of sherbet. Although there used to be those little things for a while that were they were in paper packaging, and you had one side of the paper packaging was sherbet and the other side you ripped it open and it had a little candy stick that you would dip in. They weren't too bad, but they just didn't compare. Thank you, Ernestine. So tomorrow's my actual birthday, but yeah. Yeah, you can buy them in the British sweets shops in Canada. That makes sense. I was there's some British sweets that I love that are it's like a peppermint slab type thing. But they're really hard to find. Oh yeah, I think that's what I'm thinking of. 3 different flavors and then you dip the stick in. Cool, yeah. What's a lolly? Oh. A lolly is what we call a candy. So in Australia, what you guys call candies, we call lollies. Sorry. No, not a lollipop. That's something else again. That's it. Let me write that down because I've got to see if I can find them anywhere. Thank you. Kendall mint cake. That's what it is. I've got to try and find it. Hi, Angelina. Welcome in. Yeah, no, we call lollipops, but any sort of candy, any sort of sugary sweet that, it's a lolly. So, yeah, you guys call it candy. Oh, about 20 miles from where you grew up. It's one of my most favourite things, but it's another one of those things that is imported. So anytime I go into a little candy shop like that, I always look for them, but I can never remember what they're called. Welcome in, Geraldine. Oh, okay. So lollipops are called suckers, not lollipops. Oh, I know. The sherbet fountain's sitting on my kitchen bench, and I'm thinking it's going to be a week before I can even touch that after all the sugar I had yesterday, just for starters. But I can sit there and I can admire it for the next week. Anyway, let's get on with this. I have a short clip first of 3 of Daniel's interviews, and you'll see why in just a moment. Oh, okay.
The last few days have been very stressful. I mean, ever since the Friday morning, when we noticed that the children were gone, immediately jumped in the vehicle, surveyed all the areas, many dirt roads, many culverts as I could, and waited for the police to get there.
Yeah, Lucky Dips, that's the ones.
I'm out here still searching, still fighting to try to find them. That's all I can do.
The message is still, if anyone knows anything.
If anybody knows anything, just come forward as soon as possible.
Yeah, because you need to be reminded, Daniel.
I want to find them. That's really all I can do. Still searching every day. I'm waiting for information. I have to let them do a lot of their stuff with the aircrafts and everything else, and dogs and searchers. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be coordinated, and I can't just go running through the woods. I want to, but I just can't right now because the searchers are so far out.
So true, Bonza. He was like that. He was like, what? What am I doing?
Every day when I wake up, it's just feels like I'm reliving a nightmare of May 2nd. But the main feelings from sadness have just turned to anger because there's no evidence as of after 1 month, and it's really taken a toll.
I just thought I'd put that smug look on his face.
Okay,
for
Daniel. So what's the latest with this case?
I think we're gonna have to dive into some questions so I can, really try to answer that because, I mean, there's so much.
Oops. Okay. The reason I took the comments down momentarily is for this. So I played a few clips, but the clips were dated May 7th, May 31st, and January 6th. Now, this is what we could see when we were just watching the actual interviews. He is so full of himself. He truly is. I would like to also do some back-to-back ones just showing the evolution of his behaviours and his body language and stuff. So these are the clips, May 7th, May 31st, January 6th. And then if you apply the magnifying glass from InShot, this is what you get to see. And what you actually see when you use the magnifying glass is that it's not just a scratch, but his whole cheek is red and puffy and bruised. Someone got him good. So, Daniel, this big fat lie about this being a scar from when you were in your 20s, it's an old scar. It's been there for years. Well, I can assure you, I don't have any old scars that look like they're on the verge of becoming infected. Yeah, no, it's not just a scratch, is it? It is a full-on laceration. The fact that you have a hint of a scar still in January, I mean, holy moly, that was a deep scratch. Someone got him good. And that is, yeah. He got hit as well. Look at the redness. Look at the swelling around it. It should. He's lucky that didn't get really, really infected. Because when you look at how red it is, when you look around the edges, like that's not far off getting an infection as it was. Yeah. So my question is, who got him? Because someone got him good. Yeah, he didn't think that through very much, did he? He was so busy wanting to hide his guilt that it didn't occur to him to say, I got it running through the woods. Except even that wouldn't fly because of the amount of swelling on his face. Oh God, yeah, he couldn't find a stapler. Welcoming Call J as well. It is a massive gouge. Yeah, you could be right. It could have been done with a ringed hand. But, I think this proves once and for all that, you know, that was not a scar. That was a fresh injury. Now, this interview, when it was done, it was released on May the 7th. So, you know, when it was actually recorded, I don't know. But I'm hoping, yeah. Well, hopefully they've got a shot of it from the interviews. But I'm thinking maybe I should probably just email this one through anyway. Because I mean that's had several days to brew essentially. When you look at the redness around the edges, you look at what it was like. That's a few days in, definitely. So that would certainly fit with when the children went missing. No, the first one was the one in the rain, but because the lighting was so bad, I couldn't get a good shot of his face from it. So this was the one that had the best lighting, that I could actually get the best, image from. So there were earlier interviews. Now this is me only going through CBC, so I haven't looked at CTV or the Globe to see if there's any earlier ones to show us what it looked like in those first couple of days. But you can bet that the detectives would have seen this. Well, some of the bruising around it is getting on a bit. Yeah, it definitely looks like it should have had antibiotics. I mean that's really deep, and it looks like it is, you know, just at that point where it could have become quite infected. That swelling around his face, that must have hurt like hell. I reckon the reason that he was so absent on Friday and Saturday was because he didn't want detectives to see his face. Maybe this is why they got major crimes in so quickly. Because something went down. Yeah. Never realised Daniel and maybe it was a fight between Daniel and Justin over Malaya, or no, that's not self-imposed. That is definitely not. That is someone has clocked him big time. There's no way that's self-imposed. That is, someone has got him good with that. You just have to look at the redness around it, the swelling, the bruising. Yeah. The Christmas photos, you can see love hearts drawn on Lily's nails. That's what it looks like to me. Someone's been really pissed with him. That's serious anger that has caused that wound. It sure as hell isn't an old scar. Timing wise, and I will I think someone suggested it could have been from a ring, and that could well be. Welcome in, butterflies. Even one of the kids, if it was a fingernail, it would be different, wouldn't it? Cool. I'll put them up on my InShot later today and use the magnifier, because that's what I thought first with those fingernails as well. I know there is love hearts on Lily's fingernails at one point, but I had thought myself that they were bruised. Maybe he got hit in the face by a Tonka truck. Yep. That's kind of what I'm thinking, that it was probably a ring. Does Malaya put her hands up at all? No, I thought those Christmas photos, it looked like there was bruising under her nails. Yeah. That's kind of what I'm thinking, that's probably come from a ring, which would put it back to Malaya. Yeah, Maggie May, I'll definitely do the magnifying glass thing with that later today. Malaya has tons of tattoos on her hands, but does not wear rings. Something thrown at him. Could have been done with something. Someone might have grabbed something out of defense. Janie backhanded him for overstuffing the rubbish. I mean, I could look at it and say it looks like someone's got scratched it on barbed wire. But as far as I know, there's no barbed wire in the area. Yeah, no shortage of garbage. But the fact that there's the swelling and the bruising around it, I don't think it was something thrown. It's got to have been car keys, maybe. Someone had that in, whatever it was that gouged into his cheek. Someone had that in their hand, because you have to look at all the bruising and the swelling around it, the redness. Maybe it was a fight over car keys. It's got to be more than a tree branch, because a tree branch would just scratch. The cut goes from top to bottom by the looks of it. If you look closely, it appears to be like kind of peters off a bit towards the bottom. It also seems to be slightly wider at the bottom. It's not a tree branch. A tree branch is not going to go that deep. Cat scratch wouldn't be that thick. It's got to have been something thick enough to Mm. Cupboard hand came off my hand and you spilled your ex's gin accidentally. You were packing, leaving, and the cupboard handle came off in your hand, and you angrily threw it at him. I had a friend who stabbed her husband with a fork. She'd probably hate me for admitting that. Could have been a screwdriver. It's curious. I would like to know how you got that, Daniel. Oh, I'd imagine. I'm wondering if it's connected with the story of having to wrench the door open and a bit of metal came out. I hope that RCMP took that. Oh yeah. Huh. Is that why he wants to see the Dollarama camera to see if it shows that the scratch isn't there yet? No, we're not denying it, Maggie May. Definitely need to. I'm going to have a look at it with the magnifying glass later, and because I thought it was too, so it probably is. Yeah. That whole the shattered glass and the blood everywhere, and well, yeah, that would bleed a lot. Good point. Something big went down. The shattered glass story, he did it with Charmaine. He's talking about his life being like a shattered, or trying to recover or something, and it was like shattered glass, and he was trying to put it back together again, but it just kind of it cut him and he bled everywhere, and it was some ridiculous analogy that he was doing with you know, I'm changing my life and improving. It was just complete utter BS. Could have been mirror. Well, see, that's what I'm wondering. If he's saying that people are, this whole story of there was a fight over Malaya's phone or something. I mean, we've got him saying something about a fight over Malaya wanting to call 911. You have Malaya telling people that he would hold her down and take her phone. You have him talking about when he went out in the car, he grabbed the keys. He grabbed his keys because there's two sets of keys, right? Which to me, and I had said when I heard that it sounded to me like he'd taken two sets of keys with him. So I'm wondering if maybe he took her phone to stop her from calling 911. Maybe she took her keys and there was a fight over that and he got done in the face with a key. Hi there, Shirkers. Welcome in. Well, the shattered mirror could well be. He came up with this BS story about Malaya riding on the mirror before she left as well. So I'm curious. I'm very curious. Well, it certainly makes you wonder if this timeline thing that I found yesterday in Sunny's live stream. If that's correct, where he's getting his timeline jumbled and he's talking about Malaya wanting to call 911 on Thursday night, well, if he was trying to prevent her from calling 911, and Janie was doing the whole, what happens in the trailer, that's none of my business. But the way she was talking about it in terms of after she went inside Thursday night certainly made me think that there definitely was a very loud fight going on. And I can't help thinking that something happened. Malaya wanted to call 911. He's taken her phone. She's tried to get her keys. And they've had a fight over that as well. And he's got it in the face, maybe with the keys. Thank you for the jewels. Very much appreciated. But there's too many things here that point towards Thursday night and point towards a massive oops, trying to grab that. On Malaya's left ear, there's someone said that about blood. We'll have to bring up Malaya's interview in just a second. Too true. That's probably why they asked her if she feels safe. Thank you, Cher, very much. Yeah, that would have been my reaction if I was trying to call 911 and my partner or whoever took my phone. The next thing I'd do would be go to get my car keys. And the way he talks about getting the keys, because there's two sets of keys, certainly makes me think that I suspect something happened, whatever it was, it happened on Thursday night after he came inside. So he claims that he came in when it was dark. Now, he's got his timeline skewed because he's saying that would be around 7:30, 8 o'clock. Now, let's say he's saying that because he doesn't want that to align with anything with Malaya's timeline. Because Malaya's first story was that she put the kids to bed at 9, and then she changed it to 10. And then she just didn't know. So did something happen after dark, after he came in? Something happened to the children. It happened after dark on Thursday night. There's been some sort of fight between them. When she's sitting on the step in the unlisted video I did months ago. Oh, right. I know the image you mean. Hang on. I'm just going to put Superman Dan on while I see. I know exactly what you mean, Bonza. Hang on, let me have a look, and I'll just quickly look here first while I'm talking. The close-up of her sitting on the step. Now, I must have, because she wears a lot of earrings. Okay, give me half a minute. I'm just going to put Superman Dan on. No, it's too deep for a branch, and you wouldn't have all the swelling. Okay, just bear with me for a minute. Where is that?
I'm a math man, yeah, I count cans, live in a trailer with rusted pants. Mom's dog's bald, it's got no flair, lost all its hair, and it don't care. Pink blankets, lies I've told again, footprints vanish like phantom friends. I'm Superman, Daniel, faster than wind, stronger than a chopper with a rotor spin. I rake my driveway while Mom shakes her fist. Super Daniel, yeah, I can't be missed.
I like this one better, I think.
Not allowed on Mama's ATV. She says I drive it recklessly. X wrote her name on my mirror in red. Now I'm searching cold, it's like I lost my head. Dirt roads, rivers, waist high deep. Virginia slims, I puff and leap. I'm Superman, Daniel, faster than wind, stronger than a chopper when the rotors spin. I rake my driveway while Mom shakes her fist. Super Daniel, yeah, I can't be missed. No, out on Mama's ATV. She says I drive it recklessly. X wrote her name on my mirror in red. Now I'm searching coverts like I lost my head. Dirt roads, rivers, waist high deep. Virginia slims, I puff and leap. I'm Superman, Daniel, arrogant and bold, strutting pop lines in the cold. Work one day a week at the sawmill grind. Super Daniel, yeah, I own my time. I'm Superman, Daniel, arrogant and bold, strutting pop lines in the cold. Work one day a week at the sawmill grind. Super Daniel, yeah, I own my time.
Even with me running through the woods over the head of the helicopters and head of the drones and stuff like that.
That's a good one.
Okay, I've just brought some photos. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, hang on. Welcome in, Gaspagar. Okay, I probably need to delete some of the ones that I've already used, or it'll tell me I've got too many things in studio. Hang on. I'll just get rid of this stuff. I think I might have to put her interview on as well. Because, okay, I'll put that one up first. Sorry, these are just straight off my... Okay, let me see. Okay, I can't see anything specifically here unless I'm not sure where the video is. There's nothing here that I can see on her face there. The top of the ear, above the sleeper. Hang on, let me take that off for a minute. I think this is another one I'd probably have to go over it. So you think the top piercing is gone? Or you think there's blood around the top piercing? Yeah, it's hard to tell. I can't see anything from looking at it here, but I'm also not wearing my glasses right now. I wish I could find a way of zooming in on these, but I can't see how to zoom it. So there's a different angle picture. Yeah, I can see redness. I Okay, if I go into my videos and I have a look. So this is an unlisted one that I put up. I'll have to look for it after the live stream because I tend to save a lot of things as unlisted. There's a dark line above the top piercing. Yeah, I'm not wearing my glasses, so I'm not seeing anything that really stands out, but I will have a look later. See, I can't see that because I'm too blind. The ears red and redness down her face. Does look like there could be the beginning of a bruise on her cheek. What do we see on this one? Can't see anything on this one. Yeah, possibly around the upper rim of her ear, definitely. Although, would a sleeper make that much damage? Yeah, she's puffy from crying. Also, I'm not sure what you call it at the not on the actual earlobe, but the bit at the front of the ear. It looks like something used to be there, and the skin's kind of ripped a bit. Oh, babies do. Babies have no concept of the amount of pain they can cause from just kind of grabbing earrings like that. Yeah, I think I need to go through. I'll find this particular part of the interview. If I didn't have so many videos, I'd try and find it now. But I've got countless unlisted videos on my channel. So I will definitely, unless it was a members only one. Although if it was a members only, that could also make it hard to find. Because I know exactly the one you're meaning. Okay, if I do a search while I'm okay, I'm having a look through just quickly. Yeah, no, I'll have to look for it later. There should be pictures of, there should be images of her hands from this one. It could be inflamed. Okay, what if I look at playlists? You wouldn't believe how much crap I've got on my channel that's like in the background that you guys don't see. I know exactly what it's mean, and it's what you mean, and it's for some reason, if I search for it, it's not coming up. Okay, let me see. Did I ever make it public? Yeah, Earth to Malaya. Okay, I'm in my case file one now. It wasn't. It was relatively recently, wasn't it? Dang it. No, I can't. I can't find it in my playlists right now. You posted her hands on the community chat. Justin on the ATV. Now I might have that in this file. Let me see. Hang on, I need to look on my MacBook for that. I mean, on my iPad for that. Bear in mind that I have a Google Drive with so much in it. I also have a bunch of stuff on my iPad and a bunch of stuff on my iPhone and a bunch of stuff on my MacBook. Some of it is overlap, obviously, but some of it is not. No, I have to make this my homework for today. I'll have to make it homework because that image too, I'd have to go through my Google Drive to pull up that image as well. Yeah, there's a lot going on there in her mind right now. Yeah, I never thought to look closely at Justin. I think given the image, I would need to look at that with the magnifier, so I'd have to put it into InShot to do that. And I need to put the comments back up on stage again, don't I? Sorry about that. I think she knows what happened to her children, but I don't think she knows where they are. But I definitely going to have a look today, see. I'll look at that interview that wasn't included in the original one. Oh yeah, that's right there, Daniel. That's your what's the word? My brain is a bit slow. Circumstantial evidence, right there. Hello. What you doing? No, you let her sleep. Let her sleep, yeah. Little cutie. Mouse is putting on the cute act. Okay. Yeah, it does look like that. There's a lot going on there. She does look like her whole world has crumbled. And did I say welcome in, Captain Justice? Yeah, see, I think I need to do it with the magnifier on InShot to have a look at things properly. So I'll do all that after the live stream. But This is not someone whose kids are missing. This is someone whose kids are gone, in my opinion. But I'd really like to know what happened here, because that's one hell of a gash. That's not a scratch, that's a gash. What's up? I know. Oh my gosh. And I think that's probably why I got the super snuggle this morning. So I'm gonna dob mouse in. The other day after my live stream, I didn't feel like cooking, so I went out to the bakery and bought lunch. And then, because the bakery was already headed in the direction of Eagle Hawk, which is out the back of Bendigo, I thought I'd just go check out a few stores. No, don't start. So I was gone for probably an hour or more. And when I got home, Mouse had destroyed my bedsheet, which I was like, okay, you're telling me you're annoyed because I went out and left you. So because I knew I was going to be out yesterday, I was like, well, okay, there's a massive rip in the bedsheet, but I'm just going to leave it on my bed, because if I change it, thanks to him, I'm down to 2 bed sheets now anyway. And I thought if I change it, he's just going to rip the next one. So I just left the ripped bed sheet on my bed as, you know, a sacrifice for yesterday. And I got home and I went to check just before going to bed to see. I thought, okay, I've got to go and swap over my bed sheets. And I have a bull clip that has index cards, holding index cards, and it has sticky notes on the front, also held on by the bull clip. He'd gotten hold of that somehow. He had turned the sticky notes into confetti on my bed and chewed all the corners of the index cards. And this is like my Casefile index cards. So apparently he was done with the bed sheet. But oh yeah, good point. Just let me jot that down too, because I've got all these pictures in my Google Drive. Okay, I've made myself a note and I'll look at all these things after the live stream. Yeah, I'm kind of with Bonza on that comment about the person who was being bullied, and then basically she wasn't just brown nosing, she was joining in the bullying. I've seen comments from her joining in the bullying. I always thought she was a very sweet person, but yeah, she showed another side. Yeah, my bedroom has a door. I've also got a little a children's gate on my bedroom door. But my old dog Taka, when I go out, it's her thing that she has to go into my bedroom. It's like where she wants to be in my bedroom when I'm not home. So it's like a catch-22. I can shut them out to keep Mouse out, but then Taka and Amira, the moment I walk out the door, they go into my bedroom and they stay in my bedroom till I get home. So it's a, catch-22, I guess. Definitely going to be having a look at these. Okay, let's have a little bit of this audio, which I think is this. Yeah, I'm the same, Bonza. Don't complain to me about being bullied and then go and join in the bullying. Yeah, I'll look at all those pictures after the live stream, because definitely there's a lot of things close in, but I think it seems pretty definitive that was not a scar. Oh, whoops, wrong thing. That's not what I want.
Went out shopping and all that stuff, right? When you guys went to Acropole and did all that stuff that day and whatever. Okay, and then you guys get home, say, well, the Google says 3:12, so I think it is. So I'll use that time. So you came home. Your mom was outside, or she came outside because you guys just arrived home? Do you remember?
I don't recall that, but usually when we come home, she usually comes out.
So why is Darren now saying the kids are in Boston?
Okay. Yeah, I actually had Amira was a puppy when I was on when I did my road trip. That was when Amira was a puppy and when I got her. So I did actually have like one of those little metal playpen things for puppies, as well as a little puppy pop-up playpen for her. I hadn't thought about something like that for Mouse. Like, I've still got her little puppy playpen that he could go into when I'm not home, which, good thought. Now, he doesn't recall Janie coming out when they got home. Does that clash with something else Daniel has told us? I think Bonza knows where I'm headed with this. We had a conversation about this, I think, only yesterday. So Sonny's asking him, when you came home, your mum was outside, or she came out because you guys just arrived home. And he's like, I don't recall, but usually when we come home, she comes out. Daniel, apparently, his last memory of Jack was of lifting Jack out of the car or carrying him out of the car. Now, if his last memory of Jack involves getting Jack out of the car, how is it he can't remember also if Janie was there or not? Because that's the same moment in time. And if his last memory of Jack is of him getting him out of the vehicle, then every element of that memory should be indelibly etched in his mind. He would know who was there at the time. Yeah. Sorry, just grabbing my blanket. It's getting cold again. That's actually inaccurate. I know that's something that was claimed, that she rang Cindy when they were getting takeaway. But if you look at the documents, they basically had everything based on her Google Maps. So that proves that actually the phone call to Cindy was when they were home. So why Daniel is claiming that she rang Cindy when they got takeaway, maybe there was a missed call or something. But it seems like between Daniel and other individuals, that whole part of the timeline is getting confused and muddied up. I know, please explain, why did he need to carry a 4-year-old out? Bear in mind too, compare that with Candace Wells, and when they got home, Summer just jumped out of the car. Something is not quite right. Yep, asleep or unconscious. Now, here's the thing. I could understand if you'd been out late at night and you got home and the kid was asleep, so you carried them from the car and took them and put them into their bed. But in the middle of the day, if you've been out driving and you get home and the kid's asleep, you're going to wake them up. Yeah. Too many lies. Everything seems to go pear-shaped from when they got home on Thursday. I wonder if the fight started in the car on the way home. Yeah, a lot of kids. I mean, it was, what was it? It was 20 minutes drive coming back. Kids will fall asleep in the car. But this was like 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon when they got back. So there would have to be something very wrong if they didn't wake up when they were picked up. Very, very wrong. They all, definitely, all of them, every single one of them lie like a rug.
Is he saying that? I don't even pay attention to what he says.
Hang on, I missed a bit because I went through.
Comes out.
We've not really got any confirmation, though, in terms of the visit to Jordan. Because we know that the story of this whole thing where Durwood allegedly said that Daniel had visited Jordan, that didn't happen. Like that never existed, that audio. I went through the stuff on Dolly's Vision and it never happened. Like this transcript that someone has created claiming this is what Durwood said is a fake transcript, which makes you question if the message from the neighbour is also fake. So I'm not putting a lot of stock in them actually seeing Jordan on the Thursday. There's nothing solid that I can attach to that. Just having a look at comments. Yeah. And that could lead to behaviour issues when they got home. It could also lead to, if they've been in the car and Malaya and Daniel have been fighting in the car heading home, and then the kids have been outside and they've been out too long and Daniel's yelling at them to get inside, they could have definitely been too scared to go inside. It did set Durwood off. But the timing too and I'm not saying this isn't, it could be a thing. The timing of that also was when everyone was turning around and basically pointing out that Durwood was full of shit. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I just haven't found anything really solid that proves that they went to Jordan's place. That doesn't mean it didn't happen, though.
So why is Darren now saying the kids are in Boston? Is he saying that? I don't even pay attention to what he says.
I think Anita and Darren should hook up.
It's a scary thought, Anita and Darren hooking up, but I honestly believe that Darren brought her into it. I think that she was his contact early on, his person that was close to Malaya's family. She mentioned in one live stream that she met Durwood at Paddy's place, apparently. Well, if you meet someone years ago at someone's place, you're probably not going to remember that you met them years later, if that's the one and only time you briefly met them.
No, imagine the stories they could formulate and manufacture together.
Now, because Anita did confuse me there, because at first she said that Cindy always calls her daughter. Is this true?
Okay. Thanks for coming in, Maggie May. No, the live's not done. We're still going. I just paused for a moment there. This tariff stuff is... I hate seeing this divide now between the US and Canada and Australia, because it shouldn't be that way. I'm with you on that. But at the moment, yeah, I'm not going to get into that. Same here. If you turned, I wouldn't even say that. I'd be like, get away, go. Yeah, I'm not going to get into the tariff stuff because it's yeah, I know that Australian opinions on what's going on with the American president aren't welcomed. It is having a huge impact on us in Australia, though. It's having a huge impact on Canadians. But I know there are some people who aren't fans of Canadians or Australians talking about it, even though it is affecting our countries in a major way. Anyway, let's steer clear of that one. Now, I hope that Sonny has kind of figured out the whole Anita thing now. Thank you, Deborah. I very much appreciate you not voting for him. It is one time when I wish I could have had a vote. Anyway, why do we have to tell guys that we don't want their attention? Yeah, exactly. I know. I've you know, made connections with some really wonderful people in the US. And it makes it hard because it puts stress on you know, relationships between countries. It puts stress on relationships between people from different countries. You know, I'm not like, there are some Australians now who, because of what's going on, just outright hate Americans, full stop. And I could never be like that, because, you know, from having my channel, I just know there are some absolutely fantastic Americans out there. And I think that's what saddens me, that divide that's happening. Welcome in your presence, and Holly Jolly, and anyone else, and Summer Breeze, welcome in. Sorry. It's not the way it's meant to be. Anyway, moving on, because yeah, I don't want to get into yeah, it shouldn't. And welcome in, Grover. I think I understand people are really battling right now because of what's going on. But it's not people, it's not the people who are behind this. You know, the majority of Australians, the mindset is, we support our American friends. We don't support what's going on, but we support our American friends. But there's that little core group of people who have tiny brains, and they can't actually rationalize things. They can't look at it and say, this is a government thing, not a people thing. I have to say, I was so relieved when I got fuel yesterday and it was under $2. That was the APCO servo though, so I don't know what it's like at the regular servos. Okay, I'm squirreling out again, aren't I? The frustration I had with this discussion between Sunny and Daniel is that at this point in time, this was when Sunny had only just surfaced again, and she hadn't been paying attention to what was going on with Scamanita. And she's giving her a bit of credit, a bit of credence. Yeah, we've got Australians like that too, Charlotte. It's ridiculous. You know, there's this suggestion from Sunny that some of what Anita's saying is legit. And what she doesn't realise is that all Anita has done is listen to content, look at Facebook, and take stories that she's heard and make them her own. But Sunny doesn't seem to get that in this discussion at all.
Does Cindy always call her daughter between, I think, 10 to 11?
Yeah, and leading up to the disappearance, in the months leading up, it was like 2 or 3 calls a day, 4 calls a day, 5 calls a day. Sometimes leading up to like the month before the disappearance, it'd be 5 or 6 calls a day. And I would always ask Malaya.
Yeah. I think she was definitely listening to my channel a lot as well. Because everything she says is coming from somewhere. You can always trace it back to somewhere. Now, this stuff that Daniel's saying about he can't even decide how many calls a day. it was like 2 or 3 calls a day, or 4 calls a day, or 5 calls a day. Or 5 or 6 calls a day. I don't think Daniel was in the house enough to know how many calls a day Malaya was making to Cindy, because we know that he didn't know what Lily and Jack did. So I suspect that he's actually got no idea whatsoever, especially because of the way he just keeps adding on with the calls. Now, the other thing is that Malaya's account to law authorities in terms of the regular routine was that she would get Lily and Jack to bed, and then she would get herself and Meadow to bed. I doubt very much that she would have been making a phone call to her mother at 10 or 11 o'clock at night, because her children would have been in bed asleep. And when you hear when you look at the documents and she's talking about the regular routine, she herself would have been in bed. And I actually don't think that Daniel would have been even around at between 10 and 11. Because he would have been off tweaking. Yeah. That works for his narrative. And that's exactly what he's doing. Basically, if she's having 5 or 6 calls a day, then we are supposed to draw from that the conclusion that they were planning this secret abduction. I think it would be fair to say that it was not 5 or 6 calls a day. I think he's just seriously over-exaggerating, and the fact that he has rapidly escalated from, in the months leading up, it was 2, 3, 4 calls a day, 5 calls a day. He doesn't know. He's basically, he didn't like Cindy in his business. Yeah. Yeah, I would imagine that, he doesn't really know much about the kids' bedtime routine or anything like that. I would imagine that evenings were his time for getting off his face. Yep. Now we know anywhere from 1 to 100 will do. Yep, he'd probably get stuck on 100 though. Any more than that, and he probably would struggle with the numbers. Yeah, but if you look at the documents, we know that there was no 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock phone call the Thursday night. And there's certainly no suggestion of that in terms of discussions with Cindy or Malaya. And this is an important point, because if Daniel had seen the phone calls escalating like he's claiming, he would have put an end to that pretty damn quickly. In another instance, possibly Charmaine, I think it was, he was saying how Malaya was wanting to cut Cindy off. He was saying that the relationship between them was so strained that Malaya was saying to him that she wanted to cut Cindy out of her life, and he's saying, and I told her, don't do that, you might regret it. Well, that doesn't fall in line with this idea of 5 or 6 calls a day. So which was it, Daniel? Was it Malaya was in this having issues with Cindy and wanting to cut her out of her life? Or was Malaya having 5 or 6 calls a day? Because it can only be one or other. It can't be both. But, you know, I would say 2 at the most. Oh, exactly. Exactly. This alternate reality where he does everything for the kids. But, you know, doesn't know anything, but he does everything for the kids.
You know, you're talking to your mom again. Like, what do you guys talk about 5 times a day? Nothing. She's just wondering how the kids were doing. Like
Right.
5 to 6 times a day. Like it seems odd. And
Right.
these are all the things that add up to why I thought what I thought leading up to, after the disappearance.
Note again, he's not getting full sentences out. He's stumbling and stuttering around what he's saying. Oh, exactly. He can, because he's Superman Dan. He can lie in bed with the baby, still get the children ready for school and feed them. Yeah. So true. You know, you're suspicious, Daniel. Good on you. He's overselling this, for starters, which to me is straight away red flag. But this should be something, if this was actually happening, I would expect him to be able to actually talk about this quite easily, as opposed to just completely stumbling over his words, not getting full sentences out, etc. And now he's doing the, just in case you guys didn't get what I was putting down here, I'm trying to lead you in the direction of believing that they were in cahoots and that they organised together to remove the children from the property. So that's where he's headed with this. But it's just falling apart.
It seems odd. And these are all the things that add up to why I thought what I thought leading up to, after the disappearance. I was firmly of the belief of, Malay and Cindy must have some involvement, because there's all these little things.
Leading up to, after the disappearance. You can't even say it, can you, Daniel? Summer Breeze, I forgot that you had that funeral today. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, I will. Sorry I didn't get a chance to reply to your emails. I was sort of rather exhausted after driving to Malden and back. To why I thought what I thought. Whoops, sorry. Yeah, why I thought what I. It's word salad, but he's choking on the salad. Yeah, he does this so often. It's a Janie strategy that he's clearly learned from her. You lead your audience far enough along to make sure that they reach the conclusion you want them to make. But then you don't make the outright accusation yourself. So that if anyone ever comes back to you and says, well, you said this, then you've got the classic comeback of, I never said this. You jumping to conclusions because I never said that. Yeah, probably. Speaking of Daniel's pee breaks, he's about to say that he needs another drink because his mouth has gone dry. Needs a bit of a booster, I think. after his word salad.
which are kind of like what you consider circumstantial evidence. I need
Yeah.
another drink. My mouth's going dry.
Yep. He's like, I need another drink. My mouth's gone dry. Having a dry mouth doesn't make you forget what the word is, Daniel. You just need to go and have another puff. It's like what you consider circumstantial evidence. Honestly, yeah, exactly. Dry mouth. He's got a dry mouth. He needs to. Yep, he struggled with that one. That was still only 4 syllables, isn't it? Yeah, it's only 4 syllables, but apparently it was a hard one. Yep. It's a struggle for him. Poor Daniel. Oh gosh. So he needs to go and get another drink because his mouth is dry. And he's going to come back. He's going to practice. Clearly, he practiced that word while he was having his drink, because that's what he comes back with.
Yeah, circumstantial evidence. It's like all these little things in my mind that always added up, and that's, you know, I didn't talk about a lot of them, right? But there's always these little things that always, you know.
Okay, speaking of dry mouth, I should have actually finished my drink after pausing and speaking. Now, circumstantial stuff isn't stuff that's in your mind. So he's kind of just given himself away again in terms of pointing out that this is actually made up BS. Because instead of saying it's all these little things that add up, he doesn't understand what circumstantial evidence is. So he thinks that if you can come up with a theory in your mind and you put all these theories together, that's circumstantial evidence. No, Daniel. He did. He previously struggled over psychosocial terminology before. He's had to practice circumstantial, but he really doesn't get it. Oh, I wish I could put that up on stage, Bonds Up, but I think you are so correct. Yep. I think that's what he's stumbling around. But you know, he's got this word, he's got to use it, but he doesn't really understand what it means. But he's basically claiming that this bullshit that he makes up himself is circumstantial evidence. No, Karen. That goes out the window when you're tweaking, I think. But, you know, the fact that he's saying these things add up, these things in his mind add up, he's basically admitting here that all these things that he's throwing in about Malaya are made up stories. And he's claiming they're circumstantial evidence, but he's just got no concept whatsoever. It's probably a safer way of putting up Bonz's comment, a score on that one. Totally. So let's hear some more about Daniel's circumstantial evidence.
Add up into the bigger picture.
And I'm never going to be able to listen to him talk about circumstantial evidence again without going down that road.
But like none of them are concrete, right? That's not direct evidence or indirect evidence. It's circumstantial. It creates and paints a picture.
Oh, dear God. He's got no clue, has he? No clue whatsoever. Oh, thank you for the gifted membership, Mr. Hemi, and congratulations to whoever got it. He thinks that if you have a theory, that makes it circumstantial evidence. He's just got no idea whatsoever. It's not direct evidence or indirect evidence. Well, if it's not direct or indirect evidence, what freaking sort of evidence is it then, Daniel? Oh, Brandy got it. Nice. That is so cool. He's just kind of losing it at this point. He's got a big word and he wants to use his big word. And he wants to make it sound like he knows what the big word means. But I don't think he does, BTTV. I think he really has the faintest clue. Oh, dear. I could almost feel sorry for him, but I don't. I think that's what he's pointing at. He's basically saying, all these stories that I've told you about Malaya, that's circumstantial evidence. No, Daniel, circumstantial evidence is not stories that you've been told about Malaya. Like, honestly, seriously, you got to wonder what goes on in his brain. Thank you. Very much appreciated.
Of what I believe, could have happened or what I thought, right? And I have to move away from the theories and speculation at this point.
So Daniel's thoughts are circumstantial evidence. Right. Circumstantial evidence of something, but not anything to do with Lily and Jack. I know. She could cut through like, a massive, massive tree today with that snoring. She just... She's going to escalate now. I swear she does. She just... The snoring just takes off. I think he's trying to say that gossip is circumstantial evidence. That stories told by someone is circumstantial evidence. Like, as opposed to real evidence that is circumstantial. He doesn't understand that circumstantial evidence is things like having a witness who heard a vehicle coming and going in the early hours of the morning. Yeah, that's Amira snoring flat out. She's just behind me. She's not even directly next to the desk at the moment. She's on a roll. The reason it is circumstantial evidence is because it is not solid evidence that directly links them to the crime on its own. But when you add it all up, then it builds a case. But it's real things that happened, not rumors. Oh, she does. Amira, she's just so relaxed about life. He's really... I know he's got no idea whatsoever.
point because it's been over a year. Investigators, you know, I know they work, you know, they're doing everything they can. And I know that because I talk to them.
I believe that they are absolutely doing everything they can.
And that's why it really strikes a nerve with me when people are like, we want answers. The RCMP need to tell us. Major crime needs to be more open and tell us. It's just like, how can they do that? They're collecting evidence. They can't just give the public everything.
Well, they're not.
Do you think that in Malaya's interview, when she's saying that she's owed this from the RCMP, when she's saying that, you know, she wants answers and she deserves answers, do you think that is a direct response to Daniel's this here? And we also know that Belinda has spoken about her wanting answers. So is this, what he's saying here does certainly seem to me to align with Malaya then turning around and saying, well, I deserve answers. It's just something that struck me and I was just wondering. Yeah. He probably has. Yeah, he forgets. He forgets that he's already said that the investigators aren't talking to him anymore. Now he's like, I talk to them and I'm defending them. It just depends on how many times he's had his pee breaks, I think. At this point, we're up to multiple pee breaks, so he's forgotten the earlier narrative. He's just got to make it all up as he goes along now.
Yeah, it's just it doesn't
like
it's not how not how investigations work.
Daniel is an expert on how investigations work as well. In case you didn't realize, he's just going to let you know this now. I'll guaranteed he probably never stops talking. He probably does. Or maybe he gives the drones messages to take back to the RCMP. Maybe that's why he beckons them down. Like, hey, Mr. Drone, come down. I've got another message for you to take to the RCMP. Can you tell them this for me? Yeah, that was how it came across to me as well. Just the way the way her expressions and everything were going, to me, it sounded like her saying she wanted answers from him. She wanted to know from him where the children were at. I think she truly wants to know where her children are and she truly wants them home, but not in the sense that she's trying to make people think. I think she knows they're not alive, and she wants Daniel to say where they are. She wants them brought home, and that's dependent on Daniel. Yes, definitely. Take me to your leader. So true. Yeah, she wants to know where he put them. And I believe that. Just based on what I saw in her interview, I do believe that. She wants to know where they are. She wants them brought home. I think that is genuine. But she knows that they're not alive. Oh, yes, he's an expert on the RCMP lines of administration. Remember, he was telling us how they're pretty much like, according to Daniel, they're just like minions. The RCMP, who are not MCU, by the way, apparently sit in their little cubicles like minions, and they take tips and then they run to the major crimes, and that's all they do. Oh, he's an expert on everything. I think so. I think when you start putting it together, when you look at the situation, you know, that light bulb moment yesterday, talking about when Daniel said that 1 minute she's, you know, they're asking her, do you feel safe with him? And she's like, yes, I do. And the next minute she's having a panic attack and in the ambulance. And we have that one little nugget from Malaya that after she left, the RCMP turned up at Cindy's house and interviewed her. When you start putting those bits and pieces together, I suspect that there was a large portion of the interview about Daniel's coercive control, about her fear of Daniel, about, you know, why he has a gash on his face. I would love to know. I would love to know just how much she's told the RCMP. But at the same time, you know, she's still lying publicly for him. No, she's not still with him. She left him on like the day after the children were reported missing. I agree. I think a lot of the, not just a message to Daniel, but also a message to Belinda. In the one of the early on in the interview, she keeps referring to them as her children, as opposed to Lily and Jack. And I was, you know, I got as far when I was doing my analysis of pointing out that to me it sounded like her just pointing out that, hey, everyone else who's claiming, you know, ownership of Lily and Jack, so to speak, just a reminder they're actually my kids, you know, putting herself front and center in terms of I am their mother. But I thought about it afterwards. I thought, yeah, that's got to be directed at Belinda with the guardianship thing. Someone's said something. I think, I mean, we've seen in the documents there are statements in there in terms of him holding her down, taking her phone, stuff like that. Now, that's all stuff that can be used as prosecution, whether she likes it or not, if she's the person behind the case. But I still believe 100% that she knows what happened to her children. And the fact that there's a massive scratch on his face that would coincide with the timing of what happened to Lily and Jack, that again proves to me that she knows what happened to her children. No kid did that. That had to have been done by an adult with enough weight behind them to cause a bruise. They've all been adamant there was no one else there on the property. So the three people that were on the property, they know. Didn't Angela or someone ask him in one of the interviews about the stuff that was claimed in the documents, and he said, oh, that never happened? Or her phone? Because a lot of the time, victims of DV, they might not tell anyone about it, but a lot of the time they'll save photos. So it's possible that there could have been photos on her phone, which would definitely be incriminating. I think, they're talking about there being a lot of evidence. They've got to have some pretty solid stuff to have thrown these charges at him.
Been trying to give the public everything I could.
Hang on, run that back a bit. Oh,
It's just
Daniel.
like, how can they do that? They're collecting evidence. They can't just give the public everything.
Well, they're not gonna.
Like, yeah, it's just it doesn't
Like,
it's not how not how investigations work. I've been trying to give the public everything I could. That in correspondence with working with them, like, can I release that the kids were seen the day ahead of time? And like, I'm gonna say the blanket's planted. Is there anything I can't touch on?
Okay, so first of all, he found himself another word. I've been trying to give the public everything in correspondence with working with them. Good on you, Daniel. Well done. Got yourself another big word that doesn't quite fit. And then he's like, he released all this stuff. He's like, can I release that the kids were seen a day ahead of time? What do you mean a day ahead of time, Daniel? It's a really bizarre way of wording it. Like, was there some sort of plan on the Friday to set something up so it seemed like the children were around on the Friday? Possibly. Like, I don't understand why he says was seen the day ahead of time. And then he says he's not saying he's asking them if he could say the blanket was planted. He's saying, and I'm going to say the blanket's planted. He's so full of crap. He's like, he's now the mouthpiece for the RCMP. He's sharing the bits of the investigation that apparently they've told him it's okay to share. Pictionary. Yep. Unreal. Yeah, probably was the ex-wife that dropped them off, I'd say. I think the ex-wife has got to have been interviewed. I'm just glad that she's staying under a rock, especially when you've got idiots like that Scamnita out there who, if she got even a hint of information about the ex-wife and the children, she'd run with it. And that's the last thing we want to see. I wonder, when they brought the cadaver dogs in, I wonder, given that they searched the location of the boot prints and the blanket, I wonder if that was enough of an excuse to take the dogs slightly further up Lansdowne Road and at least along the boundary of Ron and Earl's properties. Because that would be bloody interesting if they took the dogs up alongside their properties and they alerted. I mean, would be tricky because it would be hard to tell if they can't actually go on the property. But it certainly would have been interesting to see if there was a change in behaviour if they took the dogs alongside those properties, like not actually going onto the properties. Yeah, that haunts me, that's the situation. They witnessed the DV and his son, his 6-year-old son, was encouraged to hit Jack. Who encourages a 6-year-old to hit a 4-year-old boy? There's something really screwed up about that, and that's going to stick with them for life. Him and Janie play the victims. They talk about how us talking about them, they're worried that Daniel's children are going to hear about that down the track, and that's going to be traumatic for them. They seem to forget that the damage is already done. And if anything, it's going to give them a bit of affirmation that it wasn't their fault, that it wasn't something they did wrong. You know, if you've had, because that is abuse. What those children went through when they were visiting with Daniel, that is still abuse. So while him and Janie are worrying about this information about them coming out in public, that could be something that down the track when his kids are older helps them to understand that it wasn't anything about them. Yeah, I've got it. I'm not going to show that picture, obviously, but yeah, the body language in that picture was interesting, that's for sure. Yeah. I wonder what the funding is like for children who are victims in this sort of situation. Because they're going to need ongoing support for a very long time. And I just wonder who pays for that. Yeah, that comment by Janie, there's no water on my property, like talking about the property between Earl and Ron. Daniel nearly choking when DT asked him, oh, could it be people are going to suggest that the blanket and the boot prints are pointing towards your uncle's property? And Daniel had a conniption. Earl completely losing the plot at Tint. I'm firmly over on Lansdowne Road. Yeah. Hopefully their school has also got some good counsellors. But if Canada's anything like Australia, the funding for that's probably so minimal that the school probably only gets a counsellor like 1 day a week or something, and they've got to see 20 kids in 1 day or something ridiculous. I actually made that comment the other day in my Kylie live stream when Sammy was doing a twirl. When she was doing that thing in front of the camera, and I want all the kids to come to me with their stories about the party. And I was joking, like her and Daniel are pigs in a pod, exactly the same. I really hope that their mother considers legally changing their name. It can be done. If she has gone back to her maiden name, then legally she can also change their name to her maiden name. And I think in this instance, it would be a good idea. Oh, I know, the twirl. I'm surprised Daniel hasn't done that yet. Oh, yeah, the white T-shirt and the swirl. Like, oh, my God. That's all Daniel needs now. He needs a white T-shirt with Find Jack and Lily on it, and then he can get his own microphone and get in front of the media and do his own little story, and he can do a 12 for the media. He'd love that. I know. I wonder if there's anything in the laws that would allow for an exception to that. Because it's not like if she goes back to her maiden name and wants to change their name legally to her maiden name, if he doesn't have custody, and it's not a situation where a new partner is adopting the children, then she may be able to do so without his permission. I think if it was a situation where she had a new partner or she'd married and that partner wanted to adopt the children and give them his surname, then that would probably be something that they'd have to duke out in court or have permission from Daniel. But because he would never give her permission. You're right. He'd never give her permission to change their names. So, you'd have to hope that there is some sort of process in place in that situation. And you would hope that the courts would be supportive of that under these circumstances. I feel so sad for those two children. Just another, victims that were brought into this with no choice in the matter. I would imagine the courts would grant that. And also in terms of, at the moment, he's got no access to them. So if she can get a permanent guardianship thing where he's got no guardianship over the children at all, that would also help. I mean, I know a situation here where a friend of mine, when his marriage split up, his wife went back to her maiden name, and their children, she changed all their last names to her maiden name. Now, I don't know the legalities of that, if he was, because I know he didn't have any custody, and I know that's Australia, so it's different legal system, but it's still based on the Westminster, so it's possible, I think. Yeah. I think about that whole situation that you see where kids hear what is said at home. So apparently those children are in a new home. I mean, in a new school. And if parents have figured out who they are and been talking about that at home, that's going to feed back to the school, and the kids are going to be aware of it. And it would become something that would become talked about. Yeah. Quite possible his ex is in violation of his access order, access if there was an order. That depends. If she could, I would imagine that, I would like to think that she would have been pretty quick to have gone and got legal advice when all this went down and got a temporary order, basically removing any custody stuff there. The CPS stuff would certainly have made it possible for her to do so. Year 10 school certificate issued with name on birth certificate. My stepdad didn't actually adopt me. They paid $20 and my name change was a comment. Okay, cool. Yeah, only 4 days a month, which makes her a primary carer. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, yeah. In Tassie, anyone who has the last name Bryant, one of the first things people ask them is, are they related to, and I'm not going to go with his full name because he doesn't deserve it, but they ask them, are you related to the guy that was responsible for Port Arthur? People jump to those sort of conclusions pretty quickly. That's probably a good point. I mean, he was couch surfing, so I don't think he was getting access to the children before he moved into the trailer. That's what I believe. Because, I mean, she was pretty quick to make that decision to cut off access. Given the situation, and I gather she's quite an intelligent person. Thank you for coming in, BTTV. Get some rest, please do. Yeah, I think that she would have been pretty quick to have an emergency hearing to make sure that he did not gain access to them. Because what you've got to remember as well is this guy is a narcissist. He is coercive. So she would have been nervous about how to prevent him from having access to her children. So I would imagine that the very first thing that she would have done would have been to get legal advice and, follow through with it in terms of CPS and stuff. It's also possible that CPS may have made a ruling based on everything else that was going on. So, yeah, it'd be interesting. I just hope that in terms of all that there are things in place that are going to protect those children. Yeah. Anyway, I know it was a late start and everything. Yeah, I would imagine that now here's a bit of trivia for you here. Kylie's middle name is spelt May. Lily. Isn't Lily May as well? And Phoebe Bishop is Phoebe May Bishop. Like, just crazy. Thank you for coming in, Teresa. Good to see you. I'm going to wrap it up here. I know it's been a bit all over the place. I started late, all that sort of thing. But I kind of, yeah, the squirrels are loose, well and truly. I'm kind of getting distracted and not staying on track. So it's probably a good spot for me to stop here, get myself some lunch, and go and focus on some other things. I do think those children would have been supported by the courts in terms of, having access removed and possibly, hopefully, allowing her, if she wanted to change their names. Anyway, thanks for coming in, guys. I'm definitely going to wrap it up. Tomorrow's Maddie Monday. Please join me for that. Want to still talk about Jen Soto and just make sure the world knows how much of a scumbag she is and the fact that she should have been arrested. So on that note, thanks for coming in, and I'll catch you all in the next one.